What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of the Flailing Forward podcast. I'm your host, Dustin Siler. This is the podcast where we talk with entrepreneurs, business people, and people just doing life out there, flailing forward, taking action, and moving it along one step at a time. Today, we are joined by Ronald Pollias, who is a direct to seller investor in Oklahoma City area. But that's not where he started. He's got a great journey, and we're going to get into it today. So, Ronald, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate you being here.
Dustin, thanks for having me on here, and audience, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're doing the thing, you're full-time investor now, but you haven't been doing it that long, right?
No, not at all. In fact, I in 2023 I was a school bus driver,
Mhm.
and in 2024 I was a high school teacher, and I went full time into real estate in August of 24.
Okay.
So it's not even been 2 years yet, and
Yeah,
I'm full time here.
just out there crushing it. Now, before you went full-time though, were you kind of doing it as a side hustle, side gig type of thing during your workday?
Yeah. Yeah. So in 23, if I could go back just a little bit, in 23, school bus driver, wife and I was driving for the public school system. We are also associate pastors here in Oklahoma City. And so we're not making buku bucks.
Yeah.
And we just decided like, man, I need to provide more for my family. I realized that burden and that weight. And so we got our CDLs, never did that before. My wife passed her test before me. It was pretty amazing. Well, my wife, what she started expecting our first child, Ava.
Hmm.
And so in January of 24, on the 6th, she was due. And so January 1st, I said, man, I need to get my act together. Well, the months following up to 24, I was on YouTube University listening to how to start a business. I started a Christmas light installation business. Well, Christmas lights only come once a year, once a season.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a long-term sustainable business. Ended up quitting that, shutting that down. But I learned about wholesale real estate. I had this misconception, like most people do, that I need 20% down to get into real estate. That is one way to get into real estate. Wholesale is another way, and
Mm-hmm.
many other creative ways. And so I started to do that. Joined Sub 2 in February of 2024. Networked like crazy. Got a hold of a bunch of people here locally. I was channeling my energy for sell by owner on Zillow at the time before I joined Sub 2. I got two deals done, made 5K, got proof of concept on both of them.
Hmm.
And then I networked with a guy named Nathan Yurkis, and he had just joined too, and he was a buyer. So he said, what if we work together? Like you basically a bird dog. You get the deals, I buy them, and we keep trucking along. So what I started, Dustin, to do was I started knocking doors during my lunch break.
Yeah.
I would make, I have my students taking their assignments and quiz, except reading as an English teacher. So had them doing all of that. And right when lunch started, I Jesus worked out all the details on this because my lunch break was only 30 minutes,
Uh-huh.
which is not a lot of time. But my planning period was right after. So I
Oh,
had a hour and 15-minute gap between my fourth period and my seventh period. No, no. I didn't have fifth period, sixth period that started. And so I'd make my route in my fourth period and make sure like, man, we're ready. We're getting ready to go. And they're going to lunch. I'm walking out the door to go knock doors. So I'd make a 30, 45-minute route, sometimes even an hour, pushing it just a little bit. And
yeah.
I'd knock doors, knock doors. After school, I'd knock doors also and on Saturdays. So I did that a ton and fell on my face a lot of times, but I was just like, I need to keep going. I want more from my family. I want more from my family. I gotta keep doing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love that because a lot of times we'll convince ourselves, right? Oh, I'm busy. I've worked all day. I don't have time. I'm doing all this
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, you full-time job as a teacher and still managed to work it in wherever you could find time. You're out there hitting it, hitting it, hitting it, and that eventually moved you into where you were able to do this full time. You got to put in the effort and the grind in the
Big
beginning
time.
to get to where you want to be, right?
Big time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So when you were on YouTube University, just kind of studying things out, what was it about wholesaling that really spoke to you? Why did you end up as a wholesaler? What led you down that path?
So, Dustin, what led me down the path of wholesaling was the idea that I didn't have to bring skin in the game, if you
Hmm.
will,
Hmm.
because I started my Christmas light installation business and almost started 10 other businesses because I thought I needed capital to get my 20% to buy property, to get
Yeah.
my first rentals, etc. So wholesaling is a way for you to get in, is a way I got in, where you essentially you find someone who wants to sell a property, distress, want to sell quick, whatever their reason is, you get it at a certain price. Say I buy it I get it on the contract for $50,000.
Hmm.
I find an investor who wants to buy houses, fix them up and sell them, fix them up and hold them as rentals or whatever he wants to do, who would buy it from me, who did the work to get the contract. Because these people over here, these buyers, a lot of times they don't have time to go knock on doors like I do. They don't have time to sit and have an hour long conversation about what this person's gone through to get here and why they want to sell. They don't have time for that. They just want deals. The
Yeah.
sellers, they don't have the time to go looking for buyers and find who's going to pay the most and this and that and that and this. And a lot of times they don't know they could. And so I show up, I give a solution for their pain. I buy it for 50,000. This buyer says, "Hey, I will buy it for 90,000." There's a $40,000 spread. Well, that $40,000 spread goes to me and I walk away with it. It could be 10,000. I've done some where I walked away with 3,000. I've done some where I walked away with 66,000. It all depends on what I can buy it for from the seller here, what I can get it under contract for, and what my end buyer wants to buy it for. Anything in between is what I walk away with in my pocket. And that was just satisfying because I didn't need 20%.
Hmm. Yep. No, absolutely. When you explain that, have you ever had people come back and push back on you and say, well, that 60,000, that 40,000, that should be going to the seller. It's their property. Have you ever heard that in this business?
I have, and it's people who are ignorant. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is they don't realize the value you bring to the table. I'm
Hmm.
bringing value to hundreds of people here. I'm helping the homeowner who says, "Man, I got an issue for whatever reason. I need to sell my property, and I want to sell it at a discount." They
Hmm.
know they're selling at a discount. My contracts say I'm doing this to make a profit. I'm not doing this not to make money.
Yeah.
If I make money, I'm not coming back to them. If I lose money, I'm not coming back to them. Never once have I gone back and said, "Man, you owe me $10,000 of that. I overpaid for it." No, no one gets on the buyer who loses money and says,
Yeah.
"You need to go back to that seller and get your." Nobody.
Yeah.
I'm solving the problem over here for the buyer, or sorry, for the seller and making easy the one I closed yesterday, the guy was like, "Man, I don't know how I'm going to move all of this. I don't know how I'm gonna-" I paid for his moving out of my pocket before we even closed,
Hmm.
taking risk on my end.
Yeah.
And I'm solving the problem here. I'm bringing value over here. The other way I'm bringing value is to this buyer who
Hmm.
doesn't have the time to go searching for a deal, and deals is how he feeds his family. So
Yeah.
I'm helping him feed his family. I'm helping the seller prevent foreclosure, move to another state for job opportunity, value over here, value over here. That seller is then bringing value on this side.
Hmm.
He's fixing it up to rent to a family to get affordable housing. He's fixing it up to for midterm rental for traveling nurses for Airbnb after fire burns down somebody's house and they need a midterm rental. He's selling it
Yeah.
to a family, a wife, a husband who's gonna mostly the wife who's gonna fall in love with the house and say, I want to grow. I want my family to be raised here, right? Title companies involved. They're making money, feeding their families. The agents are involved, feeding their families. And
Hmm.
then all the banker, the mortgage, so many people find value because I was like, hey, let me serve this initial person's problem and pain, help them out, and then there's a domino effect going all the way over here.
Yeah.
I make $66,000. Awesome. I make $3,000. Awesome. I lose money. I've lost money on some deals.
Hmm.
Awesome. As long as I'm bringing value to everybody else involved.
Right. Yeah, I love that you point out that you're solving a problem, right? And that's what it's all about. A homeowner has a problem, you're helping them solve it. And a lot of times, in general, there's a premium for solving a problem. There's a
Yep.
premium for ease, right? I mean,
Yep.
like you
Yep. Yep.
said,
Yep.
if somebody wants to go out and make all the connections with the buyers and shop it around and,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
do this and that and the other, but you're bringing experience doing that in order to make it an easy transition for them and
Yep.
not have to do it themselves, and then making a profit for the connections and the experience and the information that you have worked hard to gain over your time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly. And nobody, I mean, we do it all the time.
Hmm.
We buy a vehicle. We don't cry about how much they're making on the vehicle.
Yeah.
We buy an iPhone. No one cries about the $1,000 iPhone. You were exchanging value.
Yeah.
You gave a dollar, you got a product back. That person's happy for the dollar they got, and you're happy for the product.
Yeah.
And we go on our happy merry way. It's the same thing in real estate.
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. I love that. So, how are you finding the homes, the sellers that you're working with? What's your method for getting out and finding those properties that need to be sold?
This is gonna blow people's minds, Dustin. It's a secret, and I'm gonna air it on here.
Here
So
we go.
don't tell anybody, okay?
This is just between us and the three people that watch.
I'm getting these leads directly from the county. I'm going on the county. I'm looking up pre-foreclosures. I'm looking up auction lists.
Hmm.
And I'm literally just saying, okay, this one's in Norman, this one's in Oklahoma City, this one's on Fifth Street, Third Street. Okay, I'm gonna make my route. Okay, I'm gonna be doing this for 2 hours. I got 30 doors to knock. And I just go around. I go around and try to have a conversation, try to set an appointment, try to bring value.
Yeah.
I had one person tell me, like, how do you do it? And I told him that. It's like, the county? He's like, yeah, the county. And he said, okay, well, my county is charging me 25 cents to, or 50 cents per lead, if you will,
Uh-huh.
that I get. Would you pay 50 cents to make maybe $66,000?
Yeah. Pretty good trade-off.
Like, like what? Come on, what? Okay, if they were $1,000 a piece, would you like? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So you're getting leads, pre-foreclosure leads from the
Yeah,
county, and then you're physically going to the house
yeah.
to try and talk to them. You're not giving them a call, you're not sending them a letter.
No,
You're
no letters.
going to
Nope.
the house to try and talk with these sellers.
Yep, showing up at the door, they see my face, and that's how I've built so much rapport with so many, Dustin,
Hmm.
because I'm closing a deal this week here, and the husband gave my contact to the wife who's making the final decision.
Mm.
And I'm talking to this wife, and she tells me, man, people have been blowing up my phone.
Yeah.
People from California, people I pick up a couple of times, and the guy sounds like he's in a call center in Pakistan, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I said, wait, 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 wait. Why'd you end up calling me? Because I couldn't get a hold of the number. So I'm door knocking. I'm having a conversation. I said, why'd you call me? And she said, well, it's because my husband told me you're trustworthy and genuine, and he thinks you're the only one that could help. Everyone else is calling. He's seen your face. You've been following up with me for 7 months. Yes, I've worked leads for 7 months plus. And so she felt like, okay, I can trust my husband who's seen you. Let's get it done. And I'm solving their pain and problem,
Yeah.
and I'm walking away with $38,000.
Yeah.
Would you work one lead for 7 months for $38,000 on top of all the other leads you could be working? I did. And yeah, that's bringing that value.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a couple great lessons out of that, right? Number one, do the thing that other people won't do. Show up to the house, have the discussion, show your face,
Yeah. Yes, yes,
because
yes.
when you're setting yourself apart like that, people are going to remember that, and it
Exactly.
it it puts a name with a face in it, like you said. they felt you were trustworthy because they got to actually see you and talk with you and interact with you and get that vibe from that interaction. And people want to do deals with those that they know, like, and trust, right?
Yep.
There's a lot to that. So you're putting in the work that other people aren't willing to do, and that's why you're being successful, it sounds like.
Yep. I actually, if you're wanting a full deal walkthrough, I dropped a YouTube video on my YouTube, Ronald Pollias, about that deal I just spoke about. And it's like I door knocked, everybody else called. And one of the people he told me he was speaking to, I know. Like I know the guy, I know the agent.
Yeah.
Like I could text him and be like, "Hey, I'm closing this deal this week that you were just calling and texting."
Yeah.
Like I know them, at least one of them, and I showed up, and I asked the husband. I said, "Has anybody else knocked?" No. Are you telling me that your foreclosure started back in whatever month it was? Your auction is coming up this week, and nobody's knocked the door. They've only called and text and sent mailers. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, nobody. People are just not doing this. And it costs you gas money and 50 cents maybe.
Yeah. That's the secret sauce right there. Get out and do it when
Right?
everybody else won't. Yeah. 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 That's, I mean, that's a great lesson to learn right there. And then 7 months you worked this
Hmm.
lead. So you're telling me that the first time you knock on the door, you don't close every deal that you talk to. Is that what you're saying? This is hard work?
That is what I'm saying. Some deals like the one I closed yesterday, I knocked one time, didn't get a hold of them, I left a sticky note.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I leave paper plates. I went out of town for about 2 weeks to a Christian conference and a marriage retreat. Came back, was working my leads. The guy was literally on his porch when I came. Had an hour conversation, walked away with the contract. That was like a month, and that's only because I didn't get him the first time.
Yeah.
This time it was 7 months. It was just constant having conversations. The wife was out of town and then unreachable. The husband didn't know what was happening and he's a drunk and it was just a mess. Well, I was like, well, let me just keep working this because this could be a good one. Well, auction was coming up.
Yeah.
So it was more pain, more motivation. And then all of a sudden, it's like the wife is back in town. Like, oh, well, can you get me connected with her? Like, your
Yeah.
auction's coming up. And then here we are. So that was just 7 months. Other people would have thrown it away. And
Yep.
I mean, I almost did. I almost did because I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Your wife went somewhere out of state to a rehab center and you don't know where she went? Like, are you not in contact with your wife? 7 months later, I find out they're having a divorce. So but that's what I learned, Dustin, that there are black swans,
Yeah.
Chris Voss says, and it's the things you don't know, it's the things you're not aware of. And for
Mhm.
7 months, I was just like, let me keep coming in case there's a black swan I can unveil. Let me keep coming in case I secretly was like, I think this guy murdered his wife. I thought that at one point, like I'm gonna go into this house one day and just find like a murdered wife just right there. Thankfully, he didn't. But I kept working it and and one day the wife is back in town. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh. And even then, Dustin, I had to keep working on him because I was trying to get her number. Well, he didn't really want to give it. So I was like, well, have her call me,
Yeah.
and they're going through a divorce. So I don't know if it's a cordial divorce. I don't know, I don't know what it is.
Yep.
Turns out another week went by and I came back after he told me the wife is back in town and I'm trying to wait for a call. Never got a call. Came back and he's like, "Oh, I just had dinner with her." Okay, invite me next time. Like, what's
Right.
happening here? And then eventually, I got a call from her and find out from her that they're getting a divorce. He was just like, I should divorce her. And anyways, here we are closing this week. But yeah, it's a lot of counseling sometimes. It's just being patient. Like, okay, I'm just gonna keep working this. I'm gonna keep working this. The guy's a drunk. He probably forgets we have conversations for 7 months. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it's a mess.
You gotta peel away those layers nice and slowly. I
Yes.
mean, sellers don't like to give it all up all the time right
Yeah.
at the beginning, and you gotta kind of work, like you said, find those black swans, find
Yeah.
those motivating factors. But that's a long time. What's the longest lead you've ever worked in order to get a deal done?
Oh, I don't know, probably 7 to 8 months. There was one I was working for almost almost a year and a half,
Wow.
and I dropped it. I dropped it because the seller would not communicate. We had to short sell it. So we were
Okay.
gonna short sell it and try to get a discount from the bank because the property was not what it was not valued at what they were trying to get out or what the guy owed on it
Mm,
in light of the repairs. And so we were trying to short sell it, and the guy, he was bad with communication. I mean, I knocked he's a door I knocked the most. Probably I would not be surprised if I knocked it 50, 60 times. He was just horrible at communication.
yeah.
And then finally I said I'm done. Like it got I didn't I had what I call deal-itis at the beginning, meaning I don't have enough deals, so I have deal-itis for just one deal. Like, this is my baby. This is my he rolls his hand and he raises his hand and said that he wants to sell.
Yeah.
Okay, the house isn't really what he owes isn't really what I should buy it at, so I'll short sell it. You just and then I got so much traction and so much momentum, Dustin, that I was able to get to a place where I said, I don't want to work that lead anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's frantically calling me back, like, "Hey, my house is going up for auction next month, the next week, and you delayed it the first time with the short sale. Can you help?" It's like, no, I'm done. I'm
Mm,
done. The time you did have, you didn't communicate,
hmm.
you didn't text me back, you didn't call me. You spoke to your friends and family who implied to you that I was a scammer or a coworker who said at one point that his wife's a realtor and could sell the house and has the ability. All of this nonsense
Yeah.
proved not to be true. I know what I'm talking about. And here you are at the end of the line calling me back frantically after I'm done with you. I don't got deal-itis anymore. It's been cured, and now you want my help. It's like, no, I'm sorry. It's not worth my time, basically.
Right. Yeah, it's funny how if you don't have enough leads coming in, you get really focused on the ones that show any promise at all, even
Yeah.
when they're not the greatest deal, right? You
Yes.
just get so
Yes.
focused on it. So that's a great lesson to take is to get out there and expand your leads so that you
Oh
don't
yeah.
have to be desperate for one potential, right? So.
Oh yeah.
That's great. And then, so you find these deals, you go out and knock the doors, you work them for a long period of time, you finally get it under contract, and then you're moving it to a buyer. How are you finding your buyers and those that are taking these deals and paying you for them?
So I built a bunch of relationships and networking at local RIAs, and I think people undervalue that
Mm,
because you find all types of people. I mean, I had one deal, the one that I'm selling and making $40,000 on this week, that I worked for 7 months.
hmm.
I sent it to a bunch of people, and one of them said, "We'll start the bidding at 60,000." Like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're not starting the bid. This is not how that works. I have a number, you have a number. What's like, no, we're not starting bidding.
Yeah.
Then I had other people say 120 or 90 and 80. This, 20, 10,000, 15,000. I just kept reaching out to more people because I've made the contacts and had the relationships, and found one who said I'll buy it for 108. And that was 40,000 or $38,000.
Hmm.
And so going to those local meetups will help you find these relationships.
Mm,
And as you keep going, you're hearing what they're doing. You get to start to kind of understand who's buying at what percentage. The the typical investor formula is the after repair value, called ARV, times a percentage number minus the repairs equals what is called maximal allowable offer. The
hmm.
percentage for people vary. Mine is 70% when I'm buying my own deals.
Hmm.
Others, that's kind of standard industry, is 75%. Some people go up as high as 80, usually hedge fund buyers or people who are just like, I got money and I'm doing tax strategy or something crazy.
Hmm.
Minus the repairs. People's repairs are different too. That's the other thing. I convert my garages when I'm keeping a rental. I want to do co-living. I want a bigger family in my rentals. I find the smaller bed ones don't bring that much cash flow.
Yeah.
Other people, other investors, they say, no, I want to keep the garage because I'm going to flip it. And the family that's going to buy this wants a two-car garage.
Hmm.
Or they're keeping it as a rental, but they want their garage, whatever that reason is, their repairs are different.
Yeah.
Mine is 40. Or the one that I'm selling to somebody else, my rehab was going to be around 60,000 because I was going to convert the garage, make it a six-bedroom house. I
Hmm.
pivoted last minute because I got too many deals going. I'm gonna get my quick 40 and move on. This guy's rehab is 40, 40 to 45. He's keeping the garage, gonna sell, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you find that MAO. So the different people I've reached out to, I kind of know where their numbers are at. And so I always send it to them a little bit higher because I know negotiations are going to take place and they're going to want to meet me in the middle of this, and that. So I
Hmm.
send it higher and then we find out what that number is. And then I make that decision. A bunch of people were at a certain number that was going to let me walk away with 20 to 30,000
Hmm.
or no, initially 15 to 20,000. And I said, oh, I feel like I could squeeze a little bit more. If you don't have these relationships, if you've not networked with people, you're going to go with the first person that says, I'll start the bidding.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. But it wasn't crazy to me 2 years ago because I mean, that's the only guy I know that would buy
Yeah.
it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you'll take the 70, you'll and walk away with 10,000 or 15,000 or 12 or three and think like, man, I just did amazing. That person got a smoking deal. They're super conservative. Or you can build those relationships and send it. And sometimes people will surprise you. Like one deal I sold closing the end of this month. This guy's usually, I think he works for a hedge fund. He's usually conservative, more conservative.
Hmm.
And I sent the deal to him and he was at 90. That's kind of where other people were at. And I was kind of wanting to sell it at 108 so I could make a 50 to $60,000 spread. I had one guy who was at 107. So I was
Hmm.
going to make $60,000, but he was going to close a week later. And I'm
Mm.
like, ooh, I need it to close in May. So I sent it out to a couple more people. Conservative guy gets back to me and he's tried to buy my deals before. He knows I have good deals and he initially sent it out to 90. I was like, ooh, I got somebody else that's a little bit higher.
Hmm.
And I sent that and he came up $10,000 immediately. He was like, oh, I'm at 100. I was like, okay. That pullback, right? That
Yeah.
negotiation tactic of pullback.
That's it.
And I said, well, can you meet me at 103? He anchored and said 101. I said, awesome. I decided that it was okay for me to lose $6,000 because he was going to close in May.
Hmm.
And that's what I wanted, and that's what I needed with the buyer situation. Perfect. So if you don't build those relationships and find out what people are buying at and stuff, you just won't find the oddballs who usually are conservative, but all of a sudden they'll go up 10 because they want to do it right now, or you won't find the 80% buyer who's like, I don't care if I make money,
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy this deal.
Yeah. No, that's great information. I mean, what I'm kind of hearing is this whole thing is a relationship based game, right? You've got to
Yeah,
build a relationship with the sellers. Fix their problem. You have to have relationships with your buyers so that you can know who's buying and what. And then it's once you have the relationships in place, it's matching up the problem with the problem solver, right? What does the seller have? What do you need to do to get this deal moved? And which of your buyers is the right puzzle piece to fix that problem? So you've got to have those relationships there to know who's doing what in order to put those pieces in place and solve everybody's issue.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Big time.
Yeah. That's great, man. Have you ever had problems with any of your buyers? Have you ever run into an issue where you've tried to move a deal and something didn't go quite right?
No, well, one time I was working with someone, so I was this one I was bird dogging and working with someone. They last minute backed out on a deal that they were gonna buy, hold as a rental. Just didn't work out for them for whatever reason. And I started I started to wholesale it because I got it on the contract and now he does want it. And I found out there are people who would have bought it and I could have made like $30,000 on this.
Mm-hmm.
This was towards the beginning, I didn't know, but it was a week for me to perform on the deal.
Mm-hmm.
and another wholesaler got a contact of this person, and it was just like, hey, you or gave the seller a bunch of like verbiage to like force me to basically back out.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating. I was super frustrated, and I was just like, man, I worked hard. I worked that for months. I could have made $30,000 feed my family, and this, it was just frustrating. But ever since then, I'm always looking for new buyers,
Hmm.
but work with I try to work with people I know who can perform. So I got to hear a referral from somebody else that I trust, know I can trust. Like, oh, this, like the one I just sold that I'm making $54,000 on. I mentioned in the communities I'm in that so and so bought my deal.
Yeah.
And somebody immediately messaged me privately, like, man, if he's buying it, I could have bought it. We're at the same numbers. But that person's a great person to work with.
Yeah.
My title that I use, my escrow closer, she's in the same communities. And when I send that message saying I'm selling it to this person, she immediately hearted it. Like,
Hmm.
okay, if my closer person likes that, likes that person, and another person I like and trust is like, hey, that person's good, then we're good.
Yeah.
So I try not to like work with new people I've kind of never really heard of because I've heard nightmares, backing out last
Sure.
minute, this and that. And
Yep.
another way I negate that is like this 80% buyer I found. I know he's bought deals at auction,
Hmm.
but not from wholesalers.
Hmm.
So I was selling one to him for the first time, and I made him put like $3,000 non-refundable. So if he
Mm.
backs out, I'm keeping that money, and I could keep going.
Right.
So if it's like new, non-refundable, high purchase, and I'm a buyer too, so I could always pivot myself. A
Hmm.
lot of people starting off, I wasn't like that. I was just a wholesaler, so it was like, oh, I got to move this. I got to move this. Now I'm a buyer, so I can turn around. My lender's like, yeah, that's a good deal. Let's do it. If you can make 60,000 on the wholesale, then
Yeah.
you can make money on the rental or flip.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So you've been able to pivot because you got into wholesaling because you didn't want to put the 20% down, and now you've been able to pivot into being a buyer, and you're acquiring your own properties through doing
Yep.
this, right?
Yep. Buying my own deals direct to seller. I don't
Yeah,
buy from wholesalers.
yeah. No, that's the way to get the best deal.
Yeah.
That's great. So how many properties are you holding now, or what are you working on?
I got 5 doors right now.
Mhm.
One, three are rented, working on getting, well, I'm working one that's a Section 8. It's been a nightmare, a headache. They're so slow. I failed the inspection of their nitpickiness and got it up to code. Now it's like 2 weeks until I could get the next inspector out there. It's been a mess.
Yeah,
So I got that, but this is my heart. I chose it. It's okay. And
sure.
then I have another rental that's going through renovations now that I'm meeting with another nonprofit to see if I could do a co-living model with it.
Mhm.
It's a 5 bedroom house.
Okay.
And then I got two fix and flips going on right now. One's about to hit the market in probably 2 weeks or maybe three. And then I'm buying a subtel, which is a sub two I'm taking down. I'm purchasing a house subject to the existing mortgage at a 2.7% interest rate.
Yep.
Why would I get 12% hard money to pay out 2.7%?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
I'm gonna take that down that way, and then I'm gonna raise some money from a guy in my church. He believes in me, trusts me, knows I'm doing deals. He's gonna give me money for the rehab and the reinstatement so
Yeah.
that I can rehab it and then sell it. And then I'm buying three other sub twos this month, and then that I'm gonna keep as rentals. One's already rental ready. I just gotta clean it out. Another, I'm actually gonna keep the person in there. It's a weird situation, helping them out. And then I have another sub two that I've been working on. It's a 2.4 interest rates of VA
Hmm.
loan. The guy's just going through a lot. He wants to sell. He just is going through a lot. So buying a bunch of sub twos and continuing on with some flips.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and I like that a lot of what you do is investing with a purpose, right? It sounds like a lot of your properties that you're holding are trying to help with the affordability crisis,
Yes,
trying to
yes,
help
yes, yes,
people
yes,
out who
yes.
are in a bad situation, all that kind of
Yes.
stuff, which, when there's something bigger to just buying and holding, it makes it a little bit more meaningful. I like that.
Yeah, I got two homes. They're both 5 bedroom houses, and I got 3 generations living in both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like serving a bunch of people, and it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
That's great, man. So what are you in need of right now? What are you looking for?
I'm always raising money
Hmm.
for from people who have money in stock markets, money market accounts, and they're saying to themselves, "Man, I want a better return, or I want a more tangible asset,
Hmm.
something they can see and touch." Now, I don't promise returns, and it's real estate's. I mean, you can lose your money, and the
Yeah,
person I work with, he knows that. I've lost money,
sure.
but I'm always leveraging that, getting loans from people who are like, "Man, I want 10 to 14% returns."
Hmm.
So I'm always looking for that. And then I'm actually looking to pour into people. I've started a YouTube channel at Ronald Pollias where I'm just helping people. And my goal is to help people negotiate because I realize, Dustin, that's the missing piece. Excuse me, that's the missing piece people don't have
Hmm.
a lot. And a couple people don't have them. Newbies don't have them.
Hmm.
They knock a door, they go on for sale by owner on Zillow, and the person's like, "Yeah, I want to sell," and they don't know how to negotiate to make this lead into a deal.
Yeah,
Every lead is not a deal.
correct.
You'll find people who say, "I'll sell for the right price." That's not a deal. No.
Yeah.
So newbies are like, "Man, what do I do once I find someone who wants to sell?" Well, you need to negotiate and then make that lead into a deal.
Hmm.
And then I want to help people who are already doing deals. And maybe they don't want to scale and do 40, 50 deals like some people in my market here. But what if you could get 10,000 to 15,000 or even 5,000 more on each deal you're already doing? If you're just doing 10 fix and flips, what if you can make 5,000 more on each one? That's
Hmm.
$50,000 and you've not done anything new but learn negotiations. And so I'm wanting to help both of those people fine tune negotiations or get better at them and acquire the skill so that they can get to a place like I did, like I am now, where I'm making $66,000. And that's because I negotiated the deal with the seller and negotiated with my end buyer.
Yeah.
I got him down and I got him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I made the spread.
Yep.
And so I'm sharing a bunch of stuff on YouTube at Ronald Pollias and then also on my Instagram, Ronald Pollias Paul, and then you add EUS on the back end and you'll find me. And I'm always answering questions, sending voice memos, trying to give value. I had a person call me yesterday. He's working a deal. He's like, "Man, this person wants this price, but we're like $50,000 below, but he has a 3% interest rate and he said, I'm afraid he's just gonna try to keep the house and have his son help him with the bills." The
Yeah.
guy has deal-itis.
Hmm.
And then he doesn't have negotiation tactics. He doesn't know the pullback method. He doesn't know how to ask implication questions that help the pain come to the forefront of the person's mind. Like, what if your son loses his job?
Right.
Both of you are foreclosed now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what if this doesn't solve the problem of you not having a job? Like the hope. So I'm trying to help people like that who have those deals and leads and etc. and help them do better this year.
Awesome. That's great. So education, people can find you. We'll drop your handles in the description, but YouTube, great place to go at Ronald Pollias for education. Sounds like a lot of YouTube on your Instagram as well. If they want to invest with you, if they want to learn from you, if they need help with negotiation, what's the best way to contact you? Is it your Instagram or something else?
Instagram at Ronald Pollias. Just shoot me a message, and I'm always on there sending a voice memo. I drive a lot
Yeah.
and knocking doors,
Yeah.
because I'm always in between this 5 minute drive or 10 minute drive or 20 if it's way across the other side of the city. I'm sending a voice memo and helping solve people's problems and biggest pain with getting their first deal or getting more margin.
And do you help people only in the Oklahoma City area, or are you willing to help people anywhere?
Anywhere. If
Okay.
you reach out and there are houses where you live, I can help.
Awesome. I love it. Well, that's great, man. It's been wonderful talking with you. I really appreciate you joining me today. Guys, reach out to him, get some help. He's willing to help out wherever. If you have questions, if you need help with negotiation, with strategy, with looking at a deal, reach out. Check out his YouTube, get the educational content. That's where he started, and now look at what he's doing. He's got a thriving business. So, appreciate you joining us today, Flailing Forward Podcast. It may not always be pretty, but get out there, take some action. You may feel like you're flailing.